Good morning, all. Today we will learn about the life process. Here there are two terms. One is the life and other one is the process. What is this life and what is this process? So life, we can define life as something which is alive, and life process has the basic important activities performed by an organism to withstand the life. As I already told you, the life means something which is alive. How do you say something is alive? If you see a dog barking there, or a cow chewing the cud, or the man is shouting, the kids are playing, or any other activities, we say them as an living. But what if all these organisms are sleeping? Even then, we say these organisms are living. Why? Because we see some of the other movements in them, like the breathing movements. But what about the plants? But what about the plants? How do you call them as living? Some may say me the plants are green in color, so we call them as a living. But there are even plants which are not green in color, but still the plants are living. So most of the time we take the visible movements as a common evidence for living, but the plant that is not visibly growing is still living, and some animals can breathe without visible movements. So using the visible movements as a defining characters of life is not always enough. So we need to have some of the invisible molecular movements which is present in our body, and invisible molecular movements are very much essential for the life. So what is life process? As I already told you, the life process means the basic important activities performed by an organism to withstand the life. We call it as a life process. See, there are some of the body movements or the maintenance processes which must be carried on, and this maintenance process must be carried out even when you are simply sitting or when you are even sleeping, and this is an continuous process. So this maintenance process requires the energy, and energy is taken in the form of the food what we eat. We generally call it as a nutrition, and so this nutrition is one of the example of the life process. Along with the nutrition, there are some of other examples like respiration, transportation, and excretion. You will study all about this nutrition, respiration, transportation, and excretion in detail in this chapter as we move on. So we'll start with the nutrition. What is nutrition? Nutrition is a process of intake of nutrients and their utilization by an organism for various biological activities. There are mainly two modes of nutrition. One is autotrophic mode of nutrition and other one is the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, and this nutrition is classified based on the food obtained by an organism. So autotrophic mode of nutrition. Here the auto means self and troph means the nutrition, which together means a self nutrition. It is a type of nutrition in which an organism synthesizes its own food from an inorganic raw materials like carbon dioxide and water present in the surrounding using an solar energy, that is a light energy. And plants are the best example for the autotrophic mode of nutrition. As human beings require so much of energy to do the metabolic activities, in the same way the plants need to perform the various different metabolic activities, and to perform all these activities even the plants need the food, and the plants obtain the food by the process called as an photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a unique process which occurs in the green plants, and all green plants are autotrophic, that is, they can synthesize their own food. Photosynthesis is the most important biological process on which the existence of the entire life is dependent on. So, photosynthesis means is a process by which autotrophs take in the substance from outside and convert them into unstored forms of energy. The substance which are taken from the surroundings will be the carbon dioxide and the water. So this carbon dioxide and water which is taken from the outside are converted into a carbohydrates in the presence of light energy and the chlorophyll, and the carbohydrates are utilized for providing energy to the plants. The carbohydrates which are not used immediately, they will be stored in the form of starch and used when required by the plants. So this will be the equation of the photosynthesis. It is carbon dioxide and the water molecules get converted into an glucose and oxygen. This takes place in the presence of sunlight and the chlorophyll. The process of photosynthesis will study in detail how the photosynthesis process occurs. For photosynthesis to occur, it has three main events. One is absorption of light energy by chlorophyll, the conversion of a light energy to a chemical energy, and splitting up of water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen. The third one is the reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. Remember, the photosynthesis can occur only in those cells which possess the green colored plastid called as a chloroplast. So, chloroplasts are very much essential for the process of photosynthesis. We will study in detail how step by step how the photosynthesis occurs. Now you can see the structure of chloroplast in the image there. It has an outer membrane, inner membrane, stroma, grana, thylakoids, which are the important structure of the chloroplast. The food is prepared in the green leaves of the plant. So the raw materials, that is the carbon dioxide and the water which is required for the process of photosynthesis, must come and reach the site of photosynthesis, that is the leaf. And how do you think these two components, that is carbon dioxide and the water, are going to reach the site of the leaves? We will see one by one. That is, first one we'll talk about the water. You can see in the image at the below there, the water molecules are absorbed by the roots. The root heads absorb the water from the surrounding environments, and with the help of the xylem tissues, the water is transported to the leaves of the plant. Now, the second one, that is the carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide required for the photosynthesis is taken by the plants from the air. The carbon dioxide enters the leaves through a tiny pores, we call it as a stomata. Now, both the water and the carbon dioxide molecule has reached the leaves, and from the leaves they move into the chloroplast. Now, the carbon dioxide and water has reached the chloroplast of the leaves. The green pigment called chlorophyll present in the green leaves helps to absorb the energy from the sunlight, and this sunlight helps to break the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen. The oxygen produced as a byproduct goes out into the air. The hydrogen is used to reduced into glucose. The food prepared by the green leaves is in the form of glucose. This glucose is sent to the different parts of the plant, and the excess glucose is converted into the starch and is stored in the leaves of the plant. The food prepared by the photosynthesis provides the energy for the growth of the plant. Thus, we can say that the green plants convert the light energy into an chemical energy by making the food. There are large number of tiny pores on the surface of the leaves, and these pores we call it as an stomata. We already know the importance of the stomata in the last section, that is during the study of photosynthesis, and these stomata are very much essential for the exchange of gases during the photosynthesis and also during the respiration process. And so the opening and closing of the stomatal pore is also very important. We'll study how these stomatal pores get open and the close. When you see the stomata under the electron microscope, you will see that stomata is surrounded by a pair of the guard cells. As also you can see in the image, there are the guard cells. The guard cells control the opening and the closing of the stomatal pores. When the guard cells absorb the water, they swell, become curved, and the pore opens. On the other hand, when the guard cell loses the water, they shrink, they become straight, and the pore closes. There is an activity to demonstrate that a chlorophyll is necessary for the photosynthesis. Take the two potted plants such as the money plants, or you can take some other plants like crotons. Okay, now take these two plants and keep them two plants in the dark room for 3 days so that all the starch present in them get used up. Now keep this plant in sunlight for about 6 hours. After keeping them in a dark room for 3 days, now take that plant from the dark room and keep them in the sunlight for about 6 hours. Pluck the leaf from the plants and try to trace it on the paper. After tracing, take a leaf and put it in a boiling water for a few minutes. Then immerse that leaf in an beaker containing alcohol. Now this beaker containing alcohol is to be kept in a water bath so that the alcohol begins to boil. After the alcohol evaporates completely, take the leaf and immerse it into an solution containing iodine for few minutes and observe the color of the leaf. You can see that the blue-black color appears only in those parts of the plant leaf which are green in color, and the variegated plants you cannot see the blue color. And why do you think there is a blue color appearance? The blue color indicates the presence of the starch. Since the starch formation takes place only in the green parts containing the chlorophyll, this shows that chlorophyll is essential for the process of photosynthesis. You can see the image of an experiment here. You can see the results of this experiment here. The leaves on the right side, you can see it turns to an blue in color, and this blue color indicates the presence of starch in the leaf. And you can see the part which is yellow color, it did not change into an blue color. So only the green parts has changed to an green color. There is one more activity mentioned to you to demonstrate that carbon dioxide is very much necessary for the photosynthesis. For this experiments, you require 2 potted plants, a bell jar, a watch glass containing the potassium hydroxide, and an iodine solution for the testing the presence of starch. So what you should do is, you should take 2 healthy potted plants which are of nearly the same size and keep them in a dark room for about 3 days, and place a watch, and you can name these 2 plants as the A and the B for your convenience. And you can keep a watch glass containing the potassium hydroxide in a pot containing the plant A. Okay, the potassium hydroxide is used to absorb the carbon dioxide. Now cover both the plants with the bell jar. So what we have done, we have taken the 2 plants which is named as A and B, and in the plant A we have kept an potassium hydroxide, and both the plants are covered with an bell jar. So we are also using the Vaseline to seal the bottom of the jar so that the condition is airtight. Now keep the plants in the sunlight for about 2 hours. After keeping it for 2 hours, you should pluck the leaf of the plant and check for the presence of the starch, and you should note the observation. You can observe that the leaf of the plotted plant B turns blue, showing the production of the starch. But the leaf of the potted plant A remains colorless, showing the absence of starch. Remember, in the potted plant A, we have kept the potassium hydroxide, which is going to absorb the carbon dioxide. So in the plant A, the carbon dioxide was absorbed by the potassium hydroxide, kept in a petri dish, and so the plant did not get the carbon dioxide and photosynthesis process did not occur. So this experiment shows that carbon dioxide is necessary for the photosynthesis. So this is all about the autotrophic mode of nutrition in plants. Hope you understood what I have taught, and in the upcoming classes we'll study about the heterotrophic mode of nutrition.